Welcome to the Side Out Society podcast, your go-to place for the cultures, stories, and community surrounding women's volleyball. I'm one of your hosts, Tiff Oshinsky.
And I'm Lindsay Harwood, your other host.
Hi, Lindsay. How's the storm in New York City?
It's good. I was just trudging out in the snow. It was like, I was so excited. I love the snow. And then it's like the next day where I'm trying to cross the street and my feet just get covered in snow and I get like snow plowed over. It's like, it's beautiful for a little and then it just turns like brown New York City snow. But I love it.
I'm an indoor cat, like to the
I'm an
nth
outdoor
degree.
cat, so there we go.
Yeah, this is why we work really well. We're the yin and the yang of each other. On Sunday when the snow was coming down, there was a consideration to like go play in the snow with the kids. And then Josh went to go shovel and he's like, it's the light fluffy snow, so it's not good for snowballs, snowman making, or sledding. So I was like, let's not bother. But then it started kind of like ice. And then on Monday they had off, so I had like a little window in between meetings and I was like, do you guys want to go sledding? And they're like, nah. I'm like, okay, good for you.
I was like, see, we're the opposite. I think it was like 9 a.m. and the snow was just starting. And I was like, let's get outside. And we made snow angels, forgot my daughter's snow pants. She was fine. Like, we got all the way to playing in the snow. She's covered. And I looked down and I was like, oh my God, yep, forgot her snow pants. But kids are resilient. So sure. Yeah, we've been outside a lot and I'm freezing, but it's worth it. So, yeah, that's why we're a good match.
Exactly. I wanted to play snow volleyball, but I was like, it's not going to happen. Snow's too deep.
Wait, explain snow volleyball. Are you wearing gloves?
Yeah,
Are you out?
What I was going to do, I was going to do it with the kids. And basically, I just wanted to film us in slow motion. Maybe it might snow this weekend, so maybe this weekend I'll try if the snow's good. But if you have like good snow to compact, like make not little snowballs, but snowballs kind of like the size of a volleyball, maybe a little smaller because it could be a little heavy, and just like try to pass and hit and serve and just like let it explode in slow motion. And I wanted to do, and then like dive in the snow, try to get like a fake snow volleyball. But
I was like, so you're an indoor cat, but you'll make an exception for snow volleyball.
Yeah, I'll go out for like 20 minutes. I'll be back inside.
I love it. That's like volleyball dedication. I'm with it.
Well, speaking of volleyball dedication, we've had some awesome guests so far to start 2026. But we have a bunch coming up too. But I wanted to kind of take a break and do like a sort of state of the pros address and talk about just this past month in January about what's been going on in Major League Volleyball and League One Volleyball, because there's been a lot of conversations on social over decision-making on both leagues and just what's going on and players, who's playing, who's not. And of course, the ever-trending topic of should they merge? So I thought that this would be a good time to kind of do like a little state of the pros episode. Are you ready to talk?
Yeah.
These two leagues?
I'm ready. I have a lot to say.
Okay. Well, before we get to like, I think the big controversial part, which is like how these two leagues are performing in general and overall and the merger and all that stuff. Let's first break down each league so we kind of see where they are at this stage after kind of almost a month after the first 3 weeks in January in these leagues for 2026. So let's start with Major League Volleyball. They just completed their Wheel of Parity this past Friday when Indy lost to Omaha. Wheel of Parity, every team has either won or beat a team. It's a nice even circle. So it means that everyone's fairly even. San Diego Mojo only has 1 win. There are 4 teams that have 3 wins and then 3 that have 2. But what do you think this means about the competition?
I mean, it definitely means that the teams are evenly matched. If they're, go online and look at the image of the Wheel of Parity. I love a good name like that. But it just means like every team is beating each other or, lost to each other. And so it's just, they're evenly matched. And so we've had some really good games. I've been impressed with Dallas Pulse. So the Dallas team is the new team this year. They didn't exist last year. And I believe they're first, so far, I think they're at the top of the rankings.
Yep.
And they're playing really well. I think all the teams have a different style of play, different personalities on the court. but we've gotten some really good matches, some 5-setters, reverse sweeps. I think this week Dallas reverse swept Orlando, and Orlando is the reigning MLV champs from last year. So that was a really exciting game. So we're getting some good volleyball. I think there's a lot of talk of, like, at this level, like, as the funnel, as you get bigger, you know, you move from college to pros, like our favorite college players who have dominated on the college level, people like Emma Halter, the libero from Texas, for example, you know, then get drafted into the pros, and there's even less playing time. And so if you don't know, in college, you get a lot more substitutions, 12 or 14 substitutions per set. In the pros, it's even less. I think it's like 7.
Yeah, something like that.
Which means there's less opportunities for players to come in and play. Like a defensive specialist is less likely to play. At this level, to get playing time, you really have to be good at every position. You need to be a good 6-rotation outside hitter, which means you're a really good hitter and a really good defender passer.
Or you can get that one libero jersey spot that can come in and out. So hard.
So it's just hard. It's hard to see some of your favorite players get playing time.
Yeah, seriously.
But I'm loving the games. You know, we can talk a lot about, you know, who's playing, who's not. I don't know if we want to get into that now, but what's your feeling?
Well, we'll definitely get into that soon in just a second. Yeah, I think that, like, because of the MLV draft, these teams are able to kind of restock a little better than Love, which is specifically putting players into its own buckets, you know, so every team is evenly stacked. But, like, there's strategy behind MLV's draft and what players they need and who's best available and all of that, which makes that really interesting to see, you know, how these teams can fluctuate in their standings, who can beat who on any given night. So the fact, I mean, Dallas obviously being an expansion team this year kind of had a little bit of extra sway, I think, because they had to choose players to, like, be on their roster, plus the draft, which they got Mimi Collier, who is kind of crushing it in the pros right now. So I do think that the way that they've kind of structured their league, similar to some of the men's leagues when it comes to the draft and that type of parity, allows for different teams to thrive, and you never know who's going to win. But let's talk about those rookies, because you brought them up. And there were a lot of players drafted, right? There are 4 rounds. There's 8 teams. So that's 32 players who were drafted. As I just said, Mimi Collier is one of the standouts in the league. She's 10th in the league in kill percentage with 314. She's 6th in the league in kills with 68. She has 175 attempts. Like, she's out there. And you know, she's 18 sets played. Her attempts are the highest on the team. Plus, she's got 5 blocks, 14 digs, which is the most on her team. So Mimi is, like, showing that, yeah, I was totally worth the number 1 pick. I also am curious if she's also, like, I should have won Player of the Year when she was in college, because she was a standout player in college. But who else from the rookies have you both been impressed by and kind of shocked by, whether it's lack of playing time or just, you know, their performance so far?
Well, I love seeing, so on the Indy Ignite team, it's basically a Louisville all-star team. And so we have Kara Cressy, the middle from Louisville, who just graduated, who's now back on Indy Ignite, reunited with her former teammates, Anna DeBeer and Elena Scott. I believe she's come in and played a little bit. You know, it's hard to get some playing time as the rookies. But she came in and she got huge crowd. Yeah.
Real quick, she's played 8 sets for 16 points. She has 16 points, 9 kills, 100 hitting percentage, and 6 blocks.
So not too shabby for you know, just graduating and getting some playing time. Who have you liked watching?
Yeah. So looking, like, when I was going through the players, the rookies, I was actually, so first off, loved her in college and so happy she's starting to get her flowers in the pros. But Flor Marie Heredia Colon on Columbus Fury has finally started playing. She's only played in 8 sets so far, but she has 39 points already. 34 of them are kills. She's hitting 243. She's got 10 digs, 3 blocks. I mean, that game when she made her debut, she was like I am here. And I absolutely loved it. So I'm so excited to see her play. And I hope she gets more and more playing time as the season goes. I understand that there's a lot of really good players, like veterans in this league. And, you know, she's got to pay her dues first in a little bit and got to prove herself. But I think she's proving herself just well. So
she's playing great. And I'm just such a big fan. Like, remember when we met her at the banquet?
Yeah. She's so sweet.
She is so sweet. We did a fit check video with her and the other college girls in Kansas City at the semifinals last year. And she was so cute. She had these like amazing stiletto boots, like leather boots on, and was so proud, and she was so sweet. And I just like such a warm energy. And so to see her go out, like, she's so sweet and bubbly and fun, like nice in person. And then she's just such a beast on the court.
Hammer on the court. Yeah. We need to get her on the show. We need to get
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we'll get Fleur on because she's just like so lovely and sweet. The other player who has really, I don't want to say surprised or has surprised me because she was good in college as well. But Kiara Reinhart from Creighton, she's on the Omaha Supernovas. I mean, she's played 12 sets so far. She has 33 points, 22 kills. So this is like the crazy thing. So out of her 33 points, 22 are kills, but she's hitting at 340. She has 5 aces and 6 blocks as well. And I'm like, the 5 aces for the middle, I'm like, that's pretty good as a rookie coming in against some of the best players in the United States, you know, if you want to extend internationally too, but like, good for her. So I'm excited to see what she does too, especially on Omaha, which everyone loves Omaha because it's Nebraska.
No, she was great. I watched Indy played the Omaha Supernovas at Indy's home opener, and it went to 5. Indy ended up losing, but the Supernovas played really, really well. And they're not used to, I think, playing the middle. You know, as the broadcasters were talking, the Supernovas weren't, they're a pin heavy offense. So they're setting their outsides and opposites more than the middles. And Reinhardt just really stepped up in this game. Like, I think there was a run, like 3 runs in a row where she had a kill, she had a block. They're like, Reinhardt's everywhere. So that was really fun to see. And she's obviously really good. And just to see that setter hitter connection develop even over the course of the game, over the course of the season, like, I want to see them run the middles more. And you obviously have the talent for it.
Mm-hmm. The one rookie who I think collectively as volleyball fans we were kind of shocked by was the Maddie Walk release from Atlanta Vibe. Did you see that coming? She's been playing great.
I didn't see that at all. I mean, we were texting each other like, what the fuck? How did this, their social post was just like, thank you, Maddie, we're releasing you. It's just like, what? Where's this coming from?
She literally started Thursday and then they released her on Saturday. I'm like, what?
So if you don't know, Maddie Walk was this senior setter on Texas A&M who just won the national championship and was drafted and now has been let go.
She was not drafted, actually.
Oh, she was not? So
no, she was actually just, she was picked up, which I thought was kind of interesting, right? So, like, they didn't draft her, but eventually I guess they needed her. But, like, I mean, they have Avery Carlson, who they drafted, in the first round. So yeah, I don't know. Was Avery hurt at the end of the college season that she had to like sit out? But actually no, because Avery's been playing too. Avery is currently 8th in the league in assists with 81.
Like, so who are the 2 setters ahead of her?
Avery Carlson is one of their setters, and then their other is Shannon Shields from Arizona State, who's a 2-year pro. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. It just seems like, why? I get that it's sports, but like, why do it in the middle of the season? Is it a budget thing, or were they always planning on cutting somebody?
I don't know. Well, the other thing is they have now one less player than the rest of the teams. They only have 15 players, while most of the other teams have 16. And also, like, Atlanta, I'm curious about what's going on in general, because they also drafted both Eva Hudson and Afena Kostapala. Granted, they drafted them later in the rounds, probably because they had a sneaky suspicion they were going to be going to League One. But, like, they wasted 2 draft picks. They could have drafted Maddie Walk instead.
That's a good point.
But I don't know. I don't know what the decision making is behind that. It's still kind of shocking and surprising to me. But I guess with Avery playing now and is good enough to like play on that pro squad, that's why they didn't think they needed Maddie. I guess they probably also had some sort of contract with Shannon Shields, is my guess, and they didn't need a third setter. But I don't know.
I'm shocked. Yeah, I'm surprised. So what does she do now? Go abroad? Is there time to go abroad?
Probably. I'm sure there's probably some like teams somewhere in the world that could use another setter. I mean, Ali Czech signed with that international agency, and now she's playing overseas. So I feel, and she's doing really well, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she managed to work out. She didn't get drafted by Atlanta Vibe, did she? Because that would be crazy. Let's see.
I don't think so.
Ali Czech was drafted by Omaha Supernovas, because that would have been crazy. Yeah, so my guess is that she probably just finds another international team. And honestly, from like hearing some of the girls who have played internationally before coming back to the U.S. and playing in these U.S. leagues, so many are like, you get such unique experience, being overseas, out of your comfort zone, learning a new way that teams build their program. And the other thing, like, especially like nowadays, college players are so pampered to kind of go overseas to some of these leagues, depending on what league it is, and, not have certain things like a proper weight room or, like a car, things like that. It's just, it's a little bit of a culture shock, which in a way is kind of scary when you're 22 years old and you feel like you should be ready to start like the next chapter of your life. But at the same time, I feel like it builds your character, right?
Yeah, and you get good experience. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise for her, but that must hurt. But so I wanted to talk about the Omaha Supernovas. They've been, I'm pivoting, but they've been coming into the Indy Ignite game. Omaha Supernovas were on an 0-3 losing streak, and Indy Ignite were on a 3-0 win streak. And I think there was a lot of talk and drama about Reagan Cooper. And Reagan Cooper hadn't started. She was a starter last year and hadn't played in the last 3 games, or maybe like one rally or something for the Supernovas. So a lot of talk, and fans are pissed. Like, why isn't she playing? And she played against the Indy Ignite, and they played incredible and they won. And you're like, let's get her out there. Yeah. Like, she and Brooke Nunneveller, led the team in kills, and they played great. And so it's like part of the conversation of like, what's, the coaching decisions of what's our lineup going to be, or who do we bring in after 3 losses, or, who's the best. I'm like thinking of who took her spot. I don't know if it was Emily Londot.
It wasn't Sarah Parsons.
Yeah, she's the other outside hitter. Sarah Parsons is incredible. Like, she played at Minnesota. She's a 7-year veteran. She played abroad.
She came back from having a baby.
Yeah.
And she crushed it in her debut.
So I'm loving Sarah Parsons. But fans are pissed that Reagan Cooper wasn't winning. This is all coaching decision stuff that sometimes goes on behind the closed doors of like what lineups, that's, the setter hitter connections, all of that. And these are just the decisions you have to make, especially, I guess we're a month in already of, what does your lineup look like going down? These benches are so deep. I mean, everyone who's on the team is obviously very good. So I wouldn't want to be in that coach's position. I wonder who's going to get the start in the next game. Yeah.
I'm actually kind of curious. I don't know when they need to share their starting lineups, like these teams. I'm guessing probably right before the match. But it's kind of interesting because if you have Sarah Parsons as one of your starting outside hitters along with Brooke, and your team is preparing for a Brooke-Sarah outside combo, and then all of a sudden Reagan Cooper comes in, who hasn't played at all yet this season. Like, you don't have any game tape, and all of a sudden your strategy is out the door in a way. So I feel like maybe there's something to that, and this idea of like a switcheroo, like a bait and switch almost, of Like, you think that you're going to get this, but actually we're going to bring this in, which is because we know that Reagan is such a great player and she's going to bring a lot to this game, and you're not prepared for what she's about to bring. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. MLV has a much longer season than Love. Like, their regular season goes into May. So it just could also be like, we're trying things. I mean, if you think about it, Indy was undefeated until that game. So wanted to do something to try to beat them, and it worked.
Yeah, speaking of Indy, I think they're my favorite team to watch right now. The coach was saying their motto this year is play with personality. And she's like, we have lots of big personalities on the court. And it's so obvious when you watch them play. And as two littles, you and me, their lineup doesn't look tall. Like, they probably have the shortest lineup on paper. So their two outside hitters, Lekator member Mena, who's 5'8", played at Pitt. Ajani Teeler, 5'9", played at Kentucky. Anna DeBeer, I think she's 5'11", not too shabby. Mia Tahinga, yeah, under 6. Like, she's their setter. 5'9", played at USC. They play so tall, and they're known for their power. Like, they are just powering the ball down for having, on paper, shorter players, and I'm all for it. Like, they're so fun to watch. And Mia Tuaniga at the last game against the Supernovas, she had a couple battles at the net, and she had a one-handed battle against the middle blocker with the ball, and she stuffed it. And it was and they were so fired up. Like, she just like fist pumped the entire stadium, and I love watching them play. So they have just such a fun lineup, big personalities. So I'm loving watching them right now.
They're definitely up there. I'm a big fan now of like the Dallas Pulse, just because it's like a new group of girls all together trying to show up and dominate, which they're doing really well at. So, but I agree, Indy Ignite is a lot of fun. Is there anything else you want to add about MLV, or should we move on to...
Let's go to Love.
All right, let's go to the state of Love. So the biggest news that came out off the court from League One Volleyball was that Love San Francisco announced that Alfie Reft, former UCLA head coach, was going to become their new head coach. And this came literally like out of a surprise when it was UCLA was like, Alfie Reft is going to be leaving the Bruins, your team, and will be pursuing professional opportunities. And everyone was like, what? That came out of nowhere. And then I saw like an old clip from the Big Ten Network with Emily Eman asking him like what he would do if he wasn't a volleyball coach, and he said he would be a Broadway singer. I was like, he's pursuing his Broadway dreams.
Well, first he'll stop at San Francisco, and then he'll go on to Broadway.
San Francisco apparently has a lovely and lively theater scene, so who knows? Maybe when the season ends, he'll like enter some sort of summer performance.
So the San Francisco team will start next year, so that'll start in 2027. Along with LA and Minnesota.
Yeah.
So we haven't heard announcements, right, of those coaches yet.
Hey, just wanted to quickly chime in here because shortly after recording this episode, Major League Volleyball announced that Minnesota assistant coach Pedro Mendez would be the head coach and general manager of MLV's Minnesota expansion team. Now, although we are talking about Love right now, I thought it was worth mentioning because we're on a new coach conversation. And I also dive into a bit of a rabbit hole about the two leagues expansion teams shortly. So back to the episode. Yeah, we're still waiting on that. But okay, I was going back because I was like, am I crazy? I could have swore that Major League Volleyball announced that they were going to have a Northern California team. And I was like,
I swore they did too.
So my recollection was Love posted like a teaser, like we have one more, like another announcement. And then I don't remember if it was hours after that or the next day.
I think it was the next morning or something.
Yeah. Major League Volleyball announced that there was going to be a NorCal team, like coming to coming to the Bay Area, it said. And I actually looked it up in my phone and I found the screenshot I sent you of that tweet saying that they were going to have a NorCal team. I didn't look on X to see if like they deleted it, but this is like conspiracy theory. Like I'm like Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny with like the black string and everything connecting things, because so in there's MLV has like two X accounts. One is kind of inactive now. The last tweet was from January 2025, and that one is MLV_official. And then the one that they use currently is MLV. The last few tweets of MLV_official are like, hey, have you heard? There's going to be a team in Sacramento in 2026. It's 2026 and there is no team. And then MLV Volley or ML Volley tweets in like November or early December about this NorCal team, but there's been nothing else about it, because if you go to MLV's website under teams, they only list Minnesota for 2027. They don't have NorCal on there. So now I'm like, what is going on? Did they just try to steal Love's thunder when they were announcing this third expansion team? Like, I don't know.
It's possible. Or, I wonder what's going on behind closed doors of, the ownership groups. And I know the Love San Francisco ownership group's really strong. I mean, I think you have Rebel. Is that the one where
with
Jess
Rebel
Wolf?
Girls? Yeah. And Stephanie Martin, who's the CMO of Love, just announced her ownership and will be team president there. Wait, I'm going to look this up real quick because I am kind of like, wait, MLB plus
I'm surprised. Yeah, you and I haven't talked about having like any follow-up from that MLV teaser from Love. So, but I mean, that was so clear. It was like they were coming in to say, I think like Love delayed their announcement for San Francisco by a week or two to get more traction.
Yeah, they waited a while.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pulling this up. I'm going to show you because I was also trying to remember when they announced this, when we saw this, and it was like I said, late November. No, it was early December because it was after my Christmas party. So here, can you see this? It says NorCal joins 2027 from ML Volley. So wait, let me search NorCal joins. Sorry, my computer's shaking because I'm searching. Going down this conspiracy rabbit hole together with everybody.
Yeah, but I think, well, okay, we'll talk about like the whole MLV Love necessary consolidate. Like, I'm just going to rant for 1 second.
Go ahead. You rant while I see if I can find this.
Okay, so preparing for this podcast episode of trying to catch up, you and I, if there's anyone who knows about volleyball, you and I know about volleyball. And I'm frustrated and annoyed that there are so many storylines. There's so many teams to keep track of. It's not even that many, but it's like the mental capacity is like my mental load. It's enough. Like I want one league. And I saw Maddie Skinner was on a podcast and she was saying like, I want one league. Let's do an all-star game of who's better and whatever. Like I love both leagues. Like I love the branding of Love. We can continue on this conversation later. But I want to expand volleyball in the United States. I don't want to have two professional leagues competing with each other. And I want to see my favorite players play each other and in one large ranking system, like one large conference. And it's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy. I'm too tired for this, Tiff.
We're too old for this. I will give my opinion at the end after we discuss Love because
You can cut that whole thing because that was just like word vomit needing to come out. But okay, let's get back to being professional.
I think we should just keep it in. I think it's great. I think it's great, Lindsay. Yeah, I will share my thoughts momentarily. But going back to my little conspiracy theory of NorCal, the tweet is still up. The post is still up. December 9th, 2025, Major League Volleyball tweeted, NorCal joins 2027, taking over the Bay Area. Yet I have seen absolutely nothing about this NorCal team. I don't know if it's just that the website is not updated, but like I said, they have Minnesota on there. So there is some sort of update. They already got rid of Maddie Walk on the Atlanta Vibe roster. So they are updating in some regard. But I'm still curious, like, was it just to steal the thunder?
Yeah. I will say, I do have a source. I know that there are talks behind the scenes of both leagues in talks with each other about potential consolidation. I don't think any of that would be a surprise, just given, the competition that they're both feeling and PVF merging with MLV.
Lindsay, breaking news on here.
Well, I think one of the issues is that there's 2 teams in Nebraska. And then what do you do with those 2 teams? Like that, I think that's an issue and sticking point. I would love to see them find a way to work together and be collaborators instead of competitors. I get that, they both want to do well and bring in the best players and whatever, but I just think for the benefit of the whole volleyball, women's volleyball in our country, whatever closed doors talks are happening with the ownership groups, like, please make it happen.
I will say, looking at other leagues, like NFL has both the Giants and the Jets literally playing in the exact same stadium. They have the Rams and the Chargers, now both in Los Angeles, right? Originally, there was the Niners and the Oakland Raiders. Granted, the Raiders have moved to Vegas, but there are teams in similar locations. I know Jacksonville and Miami are very far from each other, but there's 2 teams in a state, right? The Cowboys, the Texans, there are multiple teams in the same state. So I don't think it's impossible to have 2 teams in Nebraska, especially when there are huge fans. That is like your New York City, LA when it comes to volleyball.
If you're going to have 2 teams, it should be in Nebraska of all places.
So I think it's the other team, the other areas, like Atlanta. I don't know if you need 2 teams in Atlanta, but you could easily move one of those to Florida because I think Florida should get a team. But yeah, Dallas, you have Houston, Austin, Dallas. That's just kind of interesting. But they all are different cities, so that could still potentially work. But yeah, now you're going to have 2 Minnesota teams. That should change.
Yeah, they've got to find a way. And oh, great. Now, if you hear background noise coming from me, my daughter's home from school. So
she's so excited. All right, let's. I know that we're in the thick of it and we're very excited and animated to keep talking about this merger concept. But I really would want to just quickly talk about Love so we know where we are in the state of merger and where, what these 2 leagues are doing and provide for fans before we specifically put them together. So let's quickly talk about Love. They have yet to make their Wheel of Parity. They're very close, but only Houston and Atlanta have won 1 match, and that was against both of them beat Love Austin, which is interesting because Love Austin is one of the top teams. And
the reigning champs from last year.
Exactly. And the reigning champs from last year. Now with Eric Sullivan as head coach, who is Team USA's head coach. Don't know if that's a conflict of interest, but I guess we're lucky in that regard that a lot of Team USA members are playing under him kind of all year round. Hopefully that's an advantage for the international stage. But Love Houston and Atlanta. So last year they were number 1 and number 2 almost the entire season. I felt like they were so fun when you watched them play each other. I think most of their matches went to 5 sets, but now here they are at the bottom of the barrel. What do you think is going on with these 2 teams?
It's a tough one. I feel like their chemistry is just a little bit all over the place, and I've watched some of the other teams, and they seem a little more cohesive. Or Salt Lake team has just come out really strong, and Love Madison's come out really strong. It's still a little early. I think since so many of these games go to 4 or 5 sets, I'm not gonna say Houston and Atlanta are just the worst teams this year and whatever. I think there's still so much time to see. I know it's a shorter season. I don't think it's gonna say enough I can't say enough about the teams yet. I really don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't feel. I think there's still time for them to figure out their gel. It's to me, volleyball, it's such a momentum team sport, and it just seems like they need a little more time to figure out their cohesion.
I hear you. I do think for Atlanta, losing Danielle Catino for international and Kelsey Robinson Cook to pregnancy has kind of hurt them just because
Oh, good point.
Danielle she was like leading the league in kills for a decent amount of time. She was so good. And then Kelsey, I mean, defensively and offensively, she's absolutely phenomenal. So, and she's part of the Love San Francisco ownership. So my thought is she might, if she doesn't retire, which I don't know if she will, she appears to be someone who like loves the sport so much she might want to keep playing until like she physically can't. But the baby might change, and she also has so many like extracurriculars that she loves to do that this might actually be it for her. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But I do think that she goes to Love San Francisco, whether it's just as an owner or as a player owner. Anyway, I digress. I do think, losing those two pin hitters it kind of hurts a little bit. Eva Hudson has stepped up for Atlanta, and like I love Mackenzie Adams. I think she's so fun and like a phenomenal player. But I think that having those two veterans is a tough one. I think that's probably why they ended up taking Eva Hudson in the end, because I thought Afena Kasapala would have been amazing opposite Tia Jimerson as the middle. Just my 2 cents, because she hasn't played yet on Salt Lake, and I'm like,
I know, I'm pissed. I want to see
her.
I know. This is why it's so hard. Like, it's so hard as a fan. It's like we love these college players so much, and I just want them to get playing time. And I think that's why there's a lot of fans out there who I think feel the same way, and that's why when Lexi Rodriguez joined the pros last year, she didn't play as much because she was behind Justine Wong-Orantes, the Olympic libero, who has the starting spot. And I get both sides of it. Like Justine, in my opinion, shouldn't have gotten so much hate, but you have such intense, proud fans of people like Lexi who want to see them play, and so then these other players get some hate for it, which is really unfortunate. I think sometimes I'm dying to see Afena play too. Yeah. It's just part of the game. And I think we gotta suck it up. I had a coach, my husband talks about this, like his stories, like he didn't get a lot of playing time, and his coach was like, and he was complaining about this other guy, and his coach just looks at him and is like, be better. And he's like, stop complaining, just be better. And I'm like, but how can you tell someone like Lexi Rodriguez to be better? That's why I am so happy that she's playing. It's so fun. I just have to say, it's so fun to see these on Nebraska and Madison, like seeing these players, the newcomers with the veterans who we've loved for a long time, and then our favorite college players all playing together. Like seeing Jordan Larson play with Lexi is so fun, and I'm like, I want everyone to play. It's so hard.
I know. I mean, that's why they're expanding to 3 more teams. Because, the other thing, if you think about it, is maybe they're like, hey, like Julia Hansen, hasn't played yet. Maya Sands has gotten in a bit, but I feel like she's not getting as much love. And who's the other one who I'm missing? Rebecca Alec is crushing it, so not her. She's doing great. Bailey Miller on Love Austin hasn't played yet. And I feel like with these expansion teams, because now you're going to need to fill 3 more teams of 16, which is 48 players. I think Afena Kasapala, maybe Bailey Miller, I know she's got Texas roots, but there's a solid chance that these girls get to go to these new expansion teams, and all of a sudden they'll get that playing time. So it's 1 year under your belt of rookiness, learn from these veterans who have played overseas and who have played in the pros for so long, have played on Team USA, and then you'll be able to get your flowers. But it's still a bummer because, especially coming off of this college season, everyone wants to watch these girls play, and then, to not get to see them play, you're like, Julia Hansen's obviously going to love Minnesota, and she's going to be, crushing it over there.
Yeah, no question. But seeing, speaking of, so Becca Alex on Love Madison, she's killing it. She's playing really well for a rookie. And Logan Lednicki, who just won the national championship with Texas A&M, is now on Love Houston. And she didn't start, but I believe she came in. I mean, I watched her come in to block. I think she was came into the front row.
She's played all 4 games, actually.
Okay,
just
sorry.
Not as consistent. I haven't looked at all of her stats, but I know she's been in all 4.
Okay, so I'm glad I watched the game where she came in for the first time, or she started for the first time, and I think she had like 3 plays in a row that were bomb. Like she came into the front row and on the right side and had a block, like stuff block, and it was so great. And I think she got an ace. Like that was so fun to see. As a fan, I'm like so rooting for her, and that was so fun. So I want more teams. I want more of our favorite players to play and be able to watch them through, straight coming. I mean, they come off the college win and a month later, they're playing with the pros. It's exciting.
Yeah. And going back to Becca Alex, so she's played, I think almost every match. I actually forgot to write down how many games she's played, but I'm pretty sure she's played in every Love Madison match so far. But she's already got 33 points, 21 kills, with 5 errors on 54 attempts. So she's hitting 222, but she also has 4 aces, 8 blocks, and 8 takes. So I mean, she's
not too shabby.
Not too shabby. But yeah, I feel like she's proven her worth over there and has shown some love to Love Madison. But I'm curious actually to see where Love Madison, like how they adjust, because as littles, we love the littles, and Anna Pogany, Love Madison's libero, went down with a heartbreaking knee injury in their last game against Houston. And
it might have been ankle. I'm not sure.
Was it ankle? Oh, it looked like a knee. I couldn't tell what it was. Hi, me again. I just want to point out that it was even worse than a knee injury, even worse than an ankle injury. It was an Achilles injury. Anna Pogany posted on social media on Tuesday that she completely tore her Achilles, which, if you know anything about sports injuries, Achilles are awful, awful, awful injuries. So our hearts go out to her. We hope that she can somehow get a quick recovery, because I know that is a brutal, long recovery for her. But I hope that it goes fast and smoothly and that she gets back on the court sooner rather than later. But unfortunately, she suffered a torn Achilles injury. All right, back to the podcast. But like, I just
doesn't matter. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was so sad. She was so sad. I was so sad for her. And it happened in the 5th set too. It was like 11-6. Like the match was almost over.
A few more points were almost over. Seeing stuff like that is just heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking.
And she's so good.
I know.
And
we got to watch her when Germany played out in Arlington when we went to the VNLs, and it was like so.
That was the first time I saw her, and I remember you saying, "Oh, she's gonna come to love. She's really good," and so she was so fun to watch, and it was so excited to see her this season. So wish her a really speedy recovery. And she just posted on her stories or something like, I'm heartbroken, but thank you for all the messages and stuff. So I hope she gets better, and we'll have to, hopefully see you next year. But it sounds like she's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Oh, so heartbreaking. She was part of the little. Like there was a little libero rotation in the league, because it was like you were saying with Lexi playing DS in Nebraska behind Justine. And I was like, all right, Lexi will get her due, so she's going to be the main libero in Nebraska. They moved Justine to Houston. Granted, Justine's pregnant now, so she's not starting, or she's not even playing. But Anna Pogany was Love Houston's libero last year, and then they moved her to Madison. So Melissa Medved is their backup libero. She was their starter libero last year, and she was really good. So I think they're going to be fine on defense. But like Anna Pogany is just like she's a different level.
I know. I'm loving the Madison team too. Like they're it's like trying to pick a favorite player, and they're all just so good. And Lauren Carlini on the pod was awesome, and she's just she's so focused and funny, and she's running such a great offense. I just thought it's cool to see a timeout. I think they mic'd up Matt Furbringer, Madison coach, and during a timeout. And so you just heard him pull her aside and give her some tips on who to set. And I think it was run a slide or something. And so the very next play she goes in and just nails it, and they get a kill. And it's just, that was so fun to see. And Temi Thomas-Ilara is so good. Temmy's just the best. I'm loving Madison and Gong Xiangyu.
I was going to say the two additions that Madison had, Gong Xiangyu and Callie Schwarzenbach, are like so huge for Love Madison. They have just been absolutely unstoppable. Gong is just, I mean, former captain.
She's the captain of the
China.
Chinese national team. Yeah.
So, of course she's going to be good. But like Callie, I was looking at her stats. So she's currently tied in the league with Asia O'Neal for blocks at 15. But she also has 38 kills, only 4 errors on 82 attempts for a 329 hitting percentage. So like she's doing extremely well. And we should try to get Callie on because I saw that in the summer of 24. She got to like hug elephants.
Is that why you want her on?
Yeah, I want to know about the elephants. They probably remember how awesome she was because elephants have great memories.
That'll be our first question. Like, we wanted you on to talk to you about your elephants. No, that's so cute.
Right? Another random fact that they actually announced on the broadcasts, like on a game, I think in week 2, I want to say. But did you know that Love Austin's Bella Bergmark has a cameo? So you can like, pay like $25 and get a cameo from Bella Bergmark.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I feel like Texas
more players
fans would love
should
that.
do it.
Yeah. Something random. Anything else about Love before we go back to our little rant and official?
No, let's go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the state of the pros is clearly a little bit fractured, as we are seeing, because of these 2 separate leagues. And fans, I've been seeing like in message boards and groups and on social media, it's like either fans don't know how to get into the pros. I've seen fans specifically say they don't know how to get into League One volleyball. I've seen fans questioning still why there's 2 separate leagues. So let's first start with the differences and similarities for Major League Volleyball and Love. So like if I'm a fan coming to you saying, I don't know which league I should watch, what would you say?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think Love to me feels more like community based. Like the branding is more, it's more feminine, community power. Like you have incredible athletes. I think on paper, the athletes are stronger with the, Olympians and the awards and national championships. MLV is more of a traditional sports. I mean, you can explain this better having worked in sports for years. It feels more of a traditional, intense sports. Like it's hard to be honest with you, like it's hard to explain why. Like I watch each of them for the players. And so I'm also struggling with how to talk about it with non-volleyball fans about like why you should. Like that question's a really good question and I'm struggling to answer it to you. And
I understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, like you get what I'm saying, but how maybe you can be more eloquent on this.
I don't know if I'll be more eloquent, but I was thinking about this and I feel like Love, like you were saying, there's like that much more holistic approach. Everyone, it's like one for all and all for one with Love. And there's good and bad for that. I feel like in a way you're trying to promote these girls. That's what we're trying to do, right? Like we want to promote these girls. However, if you're trying to say like, I'm a sports fan and I want to get into volleyball, like which one should I be watching? Love, while they have the best competition, it does still feel like a love fest. And not for nothing, they lean so hard into their colors that it can be really distracting. Like I know that Atlanta, all the pink, like I'm sure in stadium, like in the arena, it looked cool. But for broadcast, like there was so much pink that you have to alter the coloration of the actual broadcast, which then makes everyone else kind of look funny. I like the bright colors and I like love the pictures on social and stuff. But watching the broadcast back, it was dark. Like it was hard to see. It just didn't feel as bright as it should have been. Like it feels like they turned down
I don't know.
I think
explain that.
Well, like if you think about it, right? So if you have all this pink on the court, right? Because they have the big pink, but it's the same thing with Nebraska with green, which green on your skin color doesn't look great. Like it makes you have that like kind of pale, sickly look, right? Blue probably is most flattering because your TVs are like a more blue light, right? But then there's purple. Soon we're gonna have red. But like the pink specifically, right? So you have the lights coming down from the arena going to be reflecting off the floor, which is going to reflect on your skin. And it doesn't matter what skin color you are. Obviously, the lighter skin you are, the more pink is going to appear on your skin. But you have to kind of then, the camera and the production booth or like the production truck is going to have to adjust colors to make sure it looks okay coming through your screen. But to do that, like to get rid of that pink, you either need to change the color temperature and like make it a little blue, but then people kind of look a little different, or you just get rid of it by like darkening the color, I guess, and trying to just push it out. But it's really tough because Nebraska, I thought that too. I thought everyone kind of looks a little sickly because the green is reflecting, and they made the color a little lighter than what it was last year. So it like actually blends in a little better with the skin color. But yeah, it's a weird, that's like.
But I like how clean it is. Like I like it's one feels a little more feminine. Like Love, the branding feels more feminine.
Yeah,
and
definitely
MLV
catered to women.
Like feels more of like a traditional sports. And like I love how clean, I love Love's branding. It feels different. It feels more like the players, like the teams are playing in like a club tournament. You know, you're joining Love and then you're just getting put on teams and you're playing each other throughout the season. It's just a very different way of organizing the sport compared to MLV, which is just more traditional sports where you have a draft. The branding feels different. Like each of the teams feel different. They actually have different logos, different mascots. Yeah, they're mascots, you know, Ignite, Pulse, all of that. And so that it feels more of like two very separate identity teams going up against each other for each match.
Yeah. And I think it's an interesting like concept to think about because like you want to appease your players, right? Because that's why like we're building these players up, which is why I think Love is so ingrained in making sure that the players are happy. And I know especially last year they had their players help with the design of the uniforms and like the design and concept of what their branding is, which is awesome. I love that. But then you kind of, it is much more feminine because you're having these women kind of design and create your look. But at the same time, for the mass audience, it kind of depends, like, who are you going for? Because obviously you can't please everyone. That's never, ever going to happen. But if you're going to stick with that, then, like, you know, stick with it. That's totally fine. I love the idea behind it when they first, you know, came out. I thought it was I love that they were taking the women into consideration when it came to style, to fit, to everything like that. But, like, my kids, when they watch, they're always like, who is who? And I'm like, well, one is pink, one is green, and like they look the same. Even like that subtle color is not enough for them. Whereas when it comes to MLV with their distinct look, and theirs are clearly, it's so much harsher, dark colors, it's like lines and angles as opposed to the softness of like, you know, Love. But they can tell who's like who as long as you tell them which is which, right? So there's that whole thing. And yeah, to your point, like they're a sports league and they're operating more like a sports league, which is why I think that this like merger is really difficult because they each have completely different like outlooks and plans and strategies. Like, how do you combine that?
That's my biggest question. Like in Bear, I'm like, it keeps me up at night, but I think about it a lot. I think about it a lot because having PVF merge with MLV, that like at the moment it was shocking, you know,
but it wasn't really a merger. Like, think about it.
It wasn't a merger. MLV just came out and was like, we're buying you and
USA
taking all your IP.
Like, why don't we have a league? We're USA Volleyball. We're going to create one. Oh, Omaha Supernovas are with us. What are you going to do about it? You know?
Yep. So that was like very straightforward. MLV didn't have an identity. There was nothing there. It was just like the name and the ownership. combining these two, I have no idea. Like what brand, it's not just like, I know I'm talking about the branding because that's my like thought, like that's my background, but it's also what fans see. And so whether you're conscious or unconsciously watching that, it's what you're paying attention to. And the branding reflects your business strategy, and their whole, business model as two pro leagues are so different. And so I don't know how you can merge that. And I think it would be a mistake to try and blend both. Like to your point, like sometimes you have to just choose and go all in on one. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, there was someone who wrote in like one of those groups, all the talk, the merging and they should merge, blah, blah, blah. And someone was like, look, we should just be thankful that there's even professional volleyball in the United States. And we should maybe there should be one league, but it's cool that there's two options and you can kind of choose which one you kind of want to be a fan of more, or you can be a fan of both if you're into it. But like we finally got what we have been asking for and looking for, and now all we're doing is complaining. And it's kind of like,
ooh, I feel personally attacked.
I didn't say this. No, I'm just saying what this person said.
I need to hear it though. No, I think all I've done is complain today. So yeah,
But I get it though, because I feel the same way, because it's like it's less about the amount of players, teams, and stuff. Because like I covered the NFL and there's 32 teams and that's fine. I can figure out the storylines for all those teams. But it's more that all the information, which is what we need to do better of, is like all the information is segregated, and it's like it's so hard to find everything all together because you have to go like here for one thing or here for another thing. It's like we can't just have one happy place to find all the information that we want. So we do more stories than X's and O's and stuff, so like maybe our good friends at Evolve and Fanflare Sports will like make the stats more readily available. But like this is what we need to work on more. This is like part of our resolution for 2026 is to like make sure that you can find all that information in one location instead, until a merger eventually happens, which who knows when that's going to happen. I looked at this just to like kind of calm people and their anxiety for a merger to happen. So these two examples were old, but the NFL started in 1920. And then the AFL was established in 1959. And they didn't merge until 1966. So right there, that's 7 years. The NBA started in 1949. The ABA started in 1967. And they didn't merge until 1979. So that's 12 years. And then for a more recent example, you have the PHF, which was the Premier Hockey Federation, formerly known as the NWHL. They started in 2015. But then in 2019, the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association began. And then, so that's a 4-year difference. LOVE and MLV is just a 1 year, but they didn't merge till 2023. So that's a 4-year, like before the merger happened, right? So considering this just started in MLV 2024, LOVE in 2025, I think it will happen. I just don't know when. I think we need to give it like 2 more years is my guess. As long as one doesn't fold.
I know. Thank you for being like the calm voice of reason during my chaotic ramblings today. I'm so happy that we have two leagues. Like I couldn't agree more. I think I get caught up in like my idealism of like, I want one league. Like I see how it should be years from now, but you have to work. That doesn't happen overnight. So we have to work towards it. It's so fun seeing like all these games. Like I'm getting more games and more players to watch. So it's all very positive. And okay, I'll just be patient, Tiff. I'll just be patient.
I think my issue, the biggest issue for me about there not being a merged league, besides the annoyingness of having to go all over the place to find information, is the timing of the games. Like, I know the NFL has tons of games on Sunday, but they give you red zone so you can watch like all the games and the best plays. Whereas for these leagues, they don't have something like that yet because there aren't enough games to do that. But there are enough games that they're overlapping each other. And I know that this is the same thing in college, but college is very different. I feel like college, everyone has like their team and watches like their team and knows how to find their team's games. Whereas because these are so new, you do have people who are fans of teams, but like watching the games on TV, like you don't see people standing up to cheer. Like you don't see so many like crazy fans like you do at college games. So I think that's the other thing is no one has like a true diehard allegiance just yet because everybody is so young and new. So, at some point, I think it'll happen and we'll have like the crazy fans and the diehards, but we're still in its infancy. There's still little babies that need to be nurtured.
No, you're 100% right. I think I want the fan base but the frustration. Oh, here's a good plug for us. If you didn't know, we have all of the pro schedules on our website.
Yay.
So you can go straight to our site. We have MLV and Love's schedules on there by day. You can see it very clearly. So that was just something like we have to solve for ourselves. And I know other fans would want that too. So yeah, we're still new. Tiff,
Yeah.
you're so wise.
It's from many, many years in sports media. I'm sure that my thought will change by the end of the season after we go through an entire 4 months of pro games, and I'm like, where is that? Why isn't that just one? But maybe we'll see an all-star game at least next year. That would be cool.
I know. Maddie Skinner talked about that. I
know.
Let's just go head to head and see who's better. I'm like, I love that fierce competitor.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We've spent so much time on
got a
pros
lot,
and rants and everything. We just want to quickly wrap up the episode by going back to college. We reversed it this time because we spent so much time in college the first half of our podcast. And now we're like last year, and now we're all pros right now. But for college, the ABCA announced their first serve lineup for the tournament in Milwaukee, August 21st to 23rd. We got some exciting games. So Friday, August 21st, Wisconsin versus Kentucky, rematch of the semifinals. Louisville versus Texas A&M. Then on Saturday, the 22nd, it's Wisconsin versus Louisville. And then the Sun Devils, Arizona State versus Texas. And then Sunday the 23rd, Kentucky versus Pitt. And Texas A&M versus SMU. So that's going to be a fun weekend. That's a good start to the season.
Buy our tickets now.
Yeah, tickets go on sale January 30th for those of you who want to go. So I'm excited for that.
We're planning to be there. That is such a good matchup. Like we were talking before, it's like I know there are going to be good teams there, and then once they announce it, it's like yes, I want.
Yeah.
I know we both really wanted the Pitt Texas A&M rematch from the national national championships, but we'll have to wait. But that these teams are the best, so I cannot wait.
So many different players on these teams now with the transfers and the players graduating. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to look like.
And we have to stay tuned for the spring games because we know that they're going to announce that at some point, what the spring matchups are going to be. And so that'll be our first look into the college teams with the new rosters, new players. And I always look forward to that every year. So yeah. And I know they're going to try and make that a bigger this year. So I think we have some fun games to look forward to. We still have a few months to go.
Yep. A lot of things going on, but we'll keep you updated on those as it comes out. Until then, I think that's it for this week. Yeah. Any last parting words?
No, I'm going to stay calm and keep watching volleyball. So.
Stay calm and keep watching volleyball. Words of wisdom right there. All right. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you guys follow us on social media, X, Instagram, TikTok. Although TikTok's been weird lately. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but we are on there if things get through. Side Out Society for all of them. And like and subscribe to our podcast. And thanks so much for listening.
Thanks.